And this is the reason why you want to tune into VCT Americas each and every week, people. Matches just like this. It doesn't get better. 100 Thieves Sentinels taking us to map 3 after 100 Thieves close. That went out with an overtime victory, 14-12. Golden Moore here alongside Brennan Mimi. Guys, I mean, overall, I think this is exactly what we would have wanted from this really hype clout matchup of two teams who have massive fan bases, but also incredible ideas. And we're seeing it play out here, Mimi.
Yeah, again, we're starting to see both of these teams' ideas really come to form. And I think in this matchup, so much about that map was really about these two IGLs coming up with ideas, being incredibly back and forth. But it was 100 Thieves to close out. And overall, I felt like they played a much cleaner game across the board. You see how many of those first kills they were getting, how many of those openers that were working really well for them. Yeah. But SEN was still scrappy enough to be able to make that match so incredibly close.
Yeah, well, we've always talked about the player quality of the Sentinels players, like pulling out these magical moments. I mean, that was coming out time and time again, wasn't it, over the course of this map? But ultimately, like, you think about the edge, just on such a narrow margin between both of these teams, 100 Thieves have been winning these pistol rounds consistently. I think 4 out of 4 so far in this series. They didn't win the first map, but they win this one. You think it goes a very different direction. Sentinels probably kicking themselves a little bit, but it's one of the things that 100 Thieves have been doing particularly well. This is a really great set strategy that they tried multiple times, but I really like it best on the pistol round because it's so difficult to chew through that Sage Wall when they place it up towards heaven, and they have magical crossfires. They have a late lurk setup as well, and you know, Sentinels are good with their retakes that they've showcased, I think, over the course of the series, but you just can't, you know, you can't play fast enough, honestly, when you're up against the Astra util late. But this round in particular, Mimi, this was also interesting. Yeah,
you can see some of the adaptation. 100 Thieves is a team that is now showing us some of those preset plays that you were talking about, but also these scrappier mid rounds with Stellar calling some great ideas. This one was an eco where they go fast, take that mid control, but then in the late round they have this great adaptation to push into spawn, recover those weapons, and they end up winning out. And that was our question for 100 Thieves. Are they this team that's really focused on the set executes, the ideas, or are they one that's willing to get super focused on the mid rounds and having an IGL like Stellar who can find them those crazy moments? But I think this map was one where they really bridged the gap and managed to show us that middle ground.
Yeah, but you know what, though? You know what helps out a little bit more? When you got a guy who pops off.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like the way Asuna did in that last game, maybe, because my boy was out there. It felt good to see him back on Raze doing his thing, the thing that we know he's capable of doing. But this guy absolutely ripped through everyone that went in his way.
Yeah, I think you can compare the impact that Asuna was able to find versus TenZ on the Jet. This Raze just did so much for 100 Thieves, especially on their defensive side. They were consistently finding value out of these nades and shutting down executes. And on top of that, he's just popping off individually.
Yeah, and also playing off of the cam setups as well. I kind of mentioned it as we were heading into the agent select, but having that Cypher cam to play off of Asuna as well, he's incredibly comfortable on this role. He was always using his satchels to hold down like B main control, stop people from pushing through smokes and taking heaven control, and just full confidence from this guy. I mean, absolutely stellar performance across the board from, and I did not intend that at all, by the way. Yeah, that was not intentional, GP. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to drift into any sort of dad jokes at this point. But the guy was popping off, and it is part of that comfort, but also part of that team play element and having that sort of middle ground that we're talking about, that balancing act that 100 Thieves had where they couldn't quite get it going for them in lock-in, where they were playing a little bit too more loose, not having enough of those set strategies, but it felt like it really came alive here, and you felt that manifest just from looking at Asuna's performance.
Yeah, and for me, a lot of the issues that we were seeing with Sentinels, I think did come back to the composition. They wanted comfort for TenZ, which I don't think is a bad decision, but it didn't feel like he had all the tools to set him up. When you're playing Jet on this map, particularly on attacking side, you don't have that utility to fall back on for clearing space, getting information, so you have to be diving in, and they really only had the Sky to support him. No breach stun to get that early space, and so often he was losing these early fights, and SEN was good enough to recover from those moments, but it still felt like that composition was something that really caused them problems on their attack.
Yeah, it felt more like they could have eked out that win, potentially, but it would have been more of a fault on 100 Thieves, I think, if they would have let that, because I like what they had. I like what they were showing us a little bit better there. And so far, everything has gone according to plan here, right? Like, you know, Sentinels, they're going to be able to win their map, 100 Thieves walk away with their map, but now we set the stage. We get ready for map 3. We have Ascent on the horizon. It's going to be the decider here between this absolute banger of a matchup. Don't want to say gigabanger, Brent.
Sure, yeah.
Because I don't want to offend you.
We're killing the term.
We're killing the term here in America.
You bringing it up is unkillable.
No. I'm not. I'm just simply contributing to the death of gigabanger.
We've got to move on. We've got to expand the lexicon.
This is a simple, good, wholesome match of Valorant. Isn't that right, Brent?
I like that, yeah. I mean, it's going the distance between these teams. Ascent is a great decider map for this one because I think it's really going to be showcasing these teams tested. We're going to see that continuation of the storyline that we just keep hitting and hammering home for 100 Thieves about the balancing act. Hopefully we get to see Cryo on the Jet. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer if you're heading into Ascent as well, and how that head-to-head matchup is going to be existing with a player like Tens, because it's much easier, I think, to get your own way when you're playing Jet on a map like Ascent compared to Split, where you need to be set up a lot more, which was your point before, Mimi.
Yeah, and I'm really wondering about what the roles are going to look like on this map. Pretty much every team plays the same composition. You got your Killjoy, your Sova, your KO, your Jet, and then the Omen. Almost everyone is running that composition. Maybe we see something creative, but I'm not expecting it. More so, I'm wondering who's playing the controller for the side of Sentinels. Is this role swap with Saucy over on that controller role going to continue? Because thus far this series, I've actually been impressed with what he's pulled out there, and it will. He's picking into the Omen here.
Interesting, yeah. And so Def's going to be playing that initiator, which is a role that he has played in the past as well, but it puts him kind of at the focal point to set up a lot of his plays. So Pancata sticking to that Sentinel and the Killjoy as well. And for 100 Thieves, they're running an interesting comp there, the double controller. So they're actually running the Viper as well on Ascent, which is really unusual. I'm going to be curious to see how that works.
Loud ran this at lock, and it was really cool. The orb in mid on your attacking side, being able to put it up and down as you choose, is so good for taking that space. And snake bites for main control provide a lot on this map. 100 Thieves is cooking some stuff up, and I'm here for it.
Okay, before we send it to the casters, who do you have? Who's winning this?
I like this comp. I think they have something good, Pred.
Nate Shaw will be very happy with you.
I'm sticking with my Pred, yeah, 100 Thieves.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. I'm kind of going Sentinels.
I mean, it's been so close, it could go either way.
It really is.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling Sentinels a little bit here, but honestly, who knows?
I mean, we get Tens versus Cryo, Jet head-to-head for the first time this series, really just closing it out in perfect fashion for them.
I know. It's so great. But we have one more map, and it's all on the line. Hoodie sales hinge on a win here, so let's go ahead and send it back over to Doug and Bala for the call.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. Yeah, to go to map 3 in this series to kick things off is really what all the people wanted, what we ultimately wanted, if we're going to be honest. It's just so much more exciting, but I do think, Mimi was talking about it on desk, the composition choices going into this, the fact that you're running a Viper on Ascent is fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen so many teams now experiment with this Viper on Ascent.
Yeah.
It's been done over and over, both in the EMEA and by teams here in America. Loud, you saw how they were using that on Ascent. That used to be one of their best maps. It still is, and it's because they're creating, they're cooking it up. And 100 Thieves is no stranger to it. Right off the bat, we're gonna have to analyze exactly how it's happening. The one difference, I think, in the comp that Loud ran and the 100 Thieves one is running is that there's a Sova instead of a Sky. I think the Sky is a solo initiator. Can be used, well, it's not a solo initiator in this case as well. There's no Killjoy being used from 100 Thieves as well, so there's definitely some differences.
Early bit of util traded by both sides. Cryo, worse for wear. Comes out of that a little battered, a little tattered. We'll see how they choose to play around this Viper utility that we were just talking about. An early wall towards B.
Yep, this is one of the key tenets of what this was actually being used for. Cryo's gonna go with a flash, and Def is full blind on that hit.
I mean, that would have been really cool if it worked. Meanwhile, the spike is still over towards A. So, I mean, yes, you don't get a kill, but you do draw some of the pressure over from the aggressive hit. But now they've gotten on A.
52 HP there from Stellar. Nice shot from Tens. They get both initial picks, which was a complete difference on Split as well.
Hey, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know that... Well, I won't say it. I don't want to jinx him. I don't want to jinx him. Stellar and Bang, the two that remain. And they get cleaned up. I want to say that's the first pistol.
Yeah,
Sentinels win. Yeah, that's huge.
The first pistol for Sentinels here.
See, I am learning the power and the curse. You saw I hesitated. I'm like, nah, let's not.
Deft with 4K there. I was not expecting that at all. Just the frenzy, just going crazy. The first kill, I think, gave him just insane confidence because he just swung outdoor. Able to deal with the flank very easily as well after the one kill comes in. It was a cool idea to go for this fake, especially if Cryo gets a kill here. What?
Yeah, I'd have confidence after that too, bro. I feel real good if I got that kill.
Yo. That is, okay, Def.
Hey, it's a huge start.
He's the pistol round king, I guess, after that. Threatening this one way. Some pressure applied here to 100 Thieves early. No wall used yet for Stellar.
Oh, they may check this anyway. Yeah, they both jump out. And they survive.
He's doing a great job here. Just holding them back, understanding what's coming. Def is actually going to give up that nade angle, though. All he was using it was in case they go for a fast push after the first contact was held.
Quick note here, 3 Bulldogs for Sentinels. And again, just patience out from 100 Thieves.
Oh, this wall allows them to kind of walk up on the right side of the map. Really apply pressure to Saucy, but he could fall back too.
That flash over the top was really nice as well. Saucy, there's a pressure that you mentioned, and well,
Spike down A.
the shots from the Bulldog are clean.
What a spray transfer.
And then 10's obviously getting 2 with the Sheriff certainly helps things. A flawless round out from Sentinels. They don't just win the pistol, they win the second as well.
I need to see Cryo really work at getting this op up very fast. When I think of 100 Thieves and I think of a sense, I don't know why, the first thing that comes to mind is Cryo ripping into 100 Thieves when he used to play against them. So he is a monster on this map. And Asna on that Raze last map, he's not playing that same type of agent. He's not going to be taking as many opening duels. 11-3 on split though. That was a huge reason why they were able to win. It was 17-9. 400 Thieves. Asna contributing 10. Right here. Throughout the series so far, it is absurd.
Cheeky here, they were able to get an alarm bot down just on the other side of the wall. And 10's tried.
See his reaction too.
Yeah.
Surprised at that shot at all. Love the drone going up there as well, trying to catch Pancata. Bang was the first guy out.
Your entry omen, of course. Dev trades it out though. 4v3 here, still in favor of 100 Thieves. They've gotten the spike too, and it just went from good to better.
Spike planted.
Right here. Great anti-bonus so far.
I mean, really excellent. You want to get out of this as cleanly as possible.
Derek instantly working this Odin too. On a wall, on a map like Ascent with these walls, how they are.
If things stand the way they will, Austin and Stellar won't have to buy armor as well. Again, to kind of continue this point of the financial advantage of 100 Thieves to be able to get out of this as cleanly as possible, to keep weapons, to keep armor, and carry into the next round.
Good exits here. Saucy's not gonna be able to find anything. And he
Oh, just out of reach.
Yeah, he could survive here depending on where the spike's planted. That's huge.
Yeah. 10's will get another shot.
10's going for the early peek there. One thing that the wall gives you is allows that fight to be 100% isolated. Usually somebody's playing on the boathouse, the switch area, maybe down lane as well, where 10's can fall back into them. But in this case, with this wall, how it is, he's by himself. Let's see where he chooses to go.
Right here.
At the Odin on the side of Zekin too.
Standing ahead.
Derek not finding anything early on.
That is completely off of just knowing the positions that players are going to dart from, that players are going to spam from.
I mean, what do you do with that?
That is, Zekin didn't even spam, by the way, at that beginning of the round. He knew Derek had an Odin in his hands, knew that there was going to be a little bit of danger. So he's not giving up that he has an Odin, that he's even going for that.
Stella not able to launch shots. Derek hitting another one. That's 2 with the Odin now.
A very greedy way to try to get back into this round here from Sentinels. Walking up Cat, I think with one person going for it, especially if it was 10s, for example, maybe you can get escape. But that there is your smoker and your initiator. And 10s' op is going to be a non-factor in this round.
Pancata smoked off. Does have some info. He knows they're there.
And not die through the smoke with the spam here. He's going to go for it. Has to give some room to 10s to maybe find a different weapon.
Yeah. Or at least play safely enough to where if things go a little sideways, he can keep the op.
Spike planted.
I mean, his movement right now is indicating to me that he is going to do that. Just in spawn, walking slightly further back to literally where his opponents start the round. Yeah, full save here. And that is, again, just, I mean, that early pick against Second. I'm not sure as well how or where they're getting the information about what Pankata's position is and how he's using his util. But they made the right choice of rotating back over towards B. Tens, I think, wasn't even oh, Pankata, he's close.
Is he gonna get challenged?
Oh, they know he's close too now that that alarm bot is actually up in this.
Yeah, but he could be anywhere. He's not gonna get challenged at all. That's wild. Either way, that gets us at 2 apiece. You mentioned 10 saving the op, still has it this round.
Right here.
Yeah. I mean, that's just.
I want to see seconds.
Me too. That's exactly.
I mean, that's how it feels when you get owned into a wall. It's the blowback. Cryo's actually updrafted already pre-round, so you can get a fast peek with this flash off the opposite ledge with the one way.
He goes up. There it is. The flash is there. He swings around. 2 spotted. Oh, it's tempting. I know it's tempting. He wants it. It's just on the other side too. But the smoke once again provides some cover.
That's sight given. 10's taking a lot of space. It's up to Stellar to hold him off.
And he knows. He knows. He's waiting for it, but 10's lands a shot.
Def has the null command for retake too. So gonna shut down a lot of the counter flashes. Potentially shocks as well. Oh, Bang is ulted all the way off site right now.
Well, I think they had to because of the fact that Stellar died. So they have to consider this. Meanwhile, the fight is going to continue on the site. The ult has been used. Cryo's able to hold him back with 2, not able to land the 3rd. Can Pankata do a bit of that? Sasi dropping down. Asuna drops him. Pankata's left in this 1v2.
Oh, good smoke
Last
from Bang.
player
He can
standing.
rotate all around that smoke as soon as Asuna takes a contact. He's not actually doing it though. He fell back and aim in. Pankata has a chance.
Enemy remaining.
Got it down to 1v1, but time is going to be the big issue here. Bang spams. And the round is secured.
Had to go for half there, so Bang instantly spamming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Knowing he can't fight back. Great round. And also just to TP out of that situation, I'm wondering if Sasi was still up in that case. I know they were worried about the 10's flank, but there's no way he continues on that flank with the op. I mean, I say no way, but there's definitely something you got to consider.
Or maybe not even him, but if he wasn't alone, he had somebody with him.
He could pick up that Vandal too, or whatever it was,
Right.
in Stellar's hands. And somehow, some way, we're still getting some weapons in the hands of the Sentinels players, even though they've been losing round after round.
1 kill gets him blades. And you just mentioned a couple of rounds ago his ability to play through this, but Bang!
And that is timing there. Bang is going for that TP anyways, I think, especially with this orb. Mimi mentioned it on the desk before we went into this game. How flexible you can be. And look at the coverage as well. Bang keeping the smoke up, threatens this mid push and isolates anybody who wants to actually push through.
Right here.
This is cool from Sentinels. They're grouped actually in front of the wall on top of the turret. That's a recipe for an easy kill. But
Yeah, but there it is, the ult. Could be all the difference. Asuna with the flash down, allowing the dash out from Cryo. Bang pushing his way forward. Keep a close eye on Sasi on the flank. It may not matter. It may be too soon before he gets here. You see Bang swinging around, getting a 3rd with it.
Player standing.
And yeah, Sasi's going to show up, but I mean, it's a bit too late.
Spike planted.
Doesn't even have a gun. 4 on the round for Bang, and 4 on the board for 100 Thieves.
as soon as the guns have come up, it's just been so clinical. And it's continuing that trend that I mentioned at the beginning of this game. 17-9, first kills to first deaths. 400 Thieves on split. And it's the same sort of pattern.
Spike down, B.
I mean, it's just criminal that he gets that one.
The shorty's pretty good.
That's a confident smirk if I've ever seen one either. Timeout called here by Sentinels. And a small lead, but a lead nonetheless.
I don't even necessarily, outside of that one round right there with the orb, isolating tens, the Viper hasn't necessarily provided so much. Maybe the pistol round as well. From 100 Thieves. These executes are just really good from them. And the patience they have to wait for it. I think specifically the round as well, where Cryo fast updrafts and gets on A. 2 rounds ago. They're making it very, very clean.
Man, poor guy's sign's upside down. Someone tell him. I got you, bud. But yeah, no,
I'm looking at Tens here, Doug.
Yeah,
the entire time he's been trying to get a sniper up, trying to get a marshal, trying to get a kill. And unfortunately, the only time he does find some contact is when he has a marshal. You've seen him work magic with that. This time he's got the op. Where does he go? I think that if there was ever like an idea with the Viper, it's going to be trying to deny Ten some space. But it really hasn't been factored.
he got under it. And the
Spike
knife
down
was
A.
just a bit late.
That's been coming late to see if they're playing close aim in and clear wine if they're not. So you don't have to spend any non-refreshable utility. That's it.
Here.
Just talking about how the first kills have been so instrumental for 100 Thieves. That is Tens finally finding an opening. And he's floating so much, rotating so much. It's almost a trend. If he gets a kill on one side, he's going to be on the other side of the map instantly. And I think 100 Thieves is understanding that after 3 maps of play.
The paranoia out, the dash from Cryo follows shortly thereafter. Playing around the wall, playing around the smoke. And now playing up towards the site. So they've established some control here. Stellar making sure there's no flank as Asunu gets the spike down. How much do they re-explore here? How far do they push?
Ooh, look at Stellar going for holding cat. They know everything about what's coming through.
Big here out from trees. Ten's gets up top, gets one with the blades. But yeah, here's the fight in tree that I was just mentioning. You don't expect Stellar there.
Not there.
Oh,
They're getting half for free.
hey. Oh, they're gonna get the whole thing for free. Forget about just half opening. Stops it.
Starts to get back on.
Can he get another? Can he get another? Well played, so well played. The turret in the smoke, him in the smoke. You peek that out, and there's just so much to deal with.
Hey, right. Okay, Pancada did get it. It's the Brazilian duo, man. Whenever they're into 2vx, just got to give it to them. That's great pressure with that lockdown. There's no response really for it. Derek, remember, he was the guy who went down first. I'm not sure if he had his Hunter's Fury, if it was even going to be a super factor. But then Tens as well with some heroics. Updrafting with the lockdown.
Right here.
Fast start here coming in from Derek.
Revealing area.
He's looking for a fast ult, I think.
Yeah, he
Tap
got
second.
it.
Oh my
There it
goodness.
is. What kind of fancy footwork does Zek have? It looks like he's going to be able to survive it.
That's a full waste, but he wants to instantly use that so that he could immediately get it back before Pancada gets his ult back on. Even though it could have been a factor late in the round. That could be the difference in ult cycles.
Oh, I was going to say that dart hit. But patience from Tens.
He cleared a lot of mid right there. I don't think the alarm bot was even... Oh, actually, it definitely was. 2 nanoswarms here, no alarm bot. And caught in an off angle right now. This flash is not going to hit.
Stays alive. So they use the flash to get out into tree. They look for a pick. They give the space back up. And it looks like they want to end up B. Derek should have his dart back up here pretty soon.
Hey, right about that. Ult's in the B main, so this split is actually real. Def is going to have a great flash here from Satsu, who also ulted in the back of sight with Zekin.
Getting a little chaotic here. They've been bumping into each other. Sasi still trying to play back side. He's been exposed. They knew exactly where he was. So 100 Thieves get the spike down. They get control of the site. And the question is now, how do they deal with the onslaught of Sentinels as they try to approach this retake from a couple of different angles? They're going to have to deal with the pit, too. Surely he doesn't do something like that.
Oh, Bang has got a shoulder on the other side of these smokes, too. Nobody's in the pit, though, with Stellar. Yeah, they're going to save.
Yeah, there's just no way in.
This is looking very brutal here. This attack side. This map is has leaned in the past year very defensive side, skewed so far.
Very heavily. That's still able to get one. That's actually huge.
But they all died. That's big. Yeah, no, that's big. Stuff like that is a way back in late in the half. Where you start to get flawless rounds, where you start to force the other team to save, that's when the bank builds up. And they kept that up. They're going to force into it. Outside of the last round, it's really been all 100 Thieves since the pistol and the anti-eco. They're marking so much on the safe side right now. I'm wondering if this knife is slightly different to actually target the KJ.
Possibly. It looks like it may go a little deep. Meanwhile, the op is across the middle of the map.
So that cleared Wine, okay? That's the cue for them. They don't have to spend any utility. They can just go for this.
Oh, the counter flash might have been good. Oh, but he just gets spammed through the smoke again. Saucy's still alive, dancing around the generator, but he's got a drone, he's got a target, he's got way too much to deal with. Bang! Finds another. And is this another save situation?
Spike
Yeah, Ten's
planted.
got the op. I think it might be. I think it might be. He's just not able to, on this defensive half, they're just reading him very well. The only time he's gotten a pick with it early in the round has been A main. And he's trying his best. They're not showing in mid. When they do show in mid, they're being elaborate with the orb. He's getting denied so much vision with that orb.
Oh, he may be in trouble here.
I mean, at this point, the bank is going to start rolling no matter what, so Tens.
Blows his hand off. And I don't think he's going to be challenged any longer.
Honestly, they probably don't even, at this point, care that this guy is saving an op every round. They're nullifying his impact. I mean, talk about as well, finding him on split, for example. Remember, the common theme I was saying, Derek is consistently just flashing him off. He's consistently getting droned off the angle, too. It's a similar story here. They are just not walking into his angles.
And it kind of reminds me of what you were saying earlier. It's not like he's been stationary. He's been at the exact same spot every time, and they know to just push away from him. He's been very mobile. He's been attacking different sites, and he still has been evaded.
I think a lot of what is changing here for Sentinels is only the setup for Pancata. There we go.
And the
Deep
crazy,
walk up.
the crazy thing is the timing was just so narrow. He'd been there a little bit earlier. He sees more.
Gives Def a moment to walk all the way up in tiles. He hears a lot about what's rotating right now. Asna one off his ult.
You've got Zekken playing backside too. How much can he find? How long can he stay alive? How much damage can he cause? He pushes into the smoke, tries to get cheeky, and Cryo's there to greet him. There's the op that we've been talking about, not able to land the shot. Is 10 suppressed? Tries to work another angle, tries to find some more space. The thing is, you haven't cleared out Bang. And I think as soon as Bang finds out that there's pressure, yeah, he can just play this so carefully.
He's such a menace with those deep smokes on the chokes for him to walk out of.
Player standing.
He doesn't even have to show himself. And this, I mean, honestly, again, this time Bala, 10's found an opening with the op, right? He was able to get the opening pill. Def was in a really good spot, takes that space, denies info, while gathering a lot of his own. And I mean, 100 Thieves just don't care.
Yeah. I think two things. Def going for the flank there, that's like the second time they've gone for a flank. One time it was 10s who went for it with the op, got himself a kill. But 100 Thieves is doing a great job actually covering up those space. Remember, they don't have a Sentinel. So, ability to get behind him is there. Def going for it, covered up by Bang. Second thing as well is Zekken is struggling when he gets pushed. Over and over, he's trying to make a play into a smoke. Something like that. And normally he's so good on this Sova.
Cover going out.
Often isolated as well, as we saw in the previous round. It was just him against the world, really.
In previous iterations with Zekken playing the Sova on Ascent, it's been with Xset a more of a floater role, not necessarily committed to this B anchor. This is the first round he's not tethered toward this B site.
He's just spotting mid.
Toxins going up.
A tell of the light buy for Pancada. Can't drop utility there to cover it, so you've got to put Zek in there instead. Derek thinks twice about it. The shot close by. Pancada now understanding there's pressure headed his way. Note he has nothing but a Sheriff. Zekken close by. He is 1 point away from having that Hunter's Fury too, but he's got to find a pick. He's got to find a kill. And now Pancada put in the position that Zekken was just a few moments ago. And it's going to be difficult to find any semblance of success, and he's not able to do so. There it is, Zekken and Tenget, Zekken and Def, excuse me. Get one. Derek's timing is gorgeous! Batasi with the trade. It's a 1v1.
Oh, he's going for the res. Austin's
He's got to be
walking
careful.
upstairs.
He's got to be careful! What was that? A fumble, a clutch, whatever you want to call it. Still turns out to be a Red Bull clutch, nonetheless.
What? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
I'm wondering if he recognized the spike wasn't planted and that there was 11 seconds left. And
I don't know.
he goes back on the res too, so he must have slipped off of that. That's a huge blunder. I'm not even sure if he had the time to go for it anyways, but that situation certainly cemented his fate. Going for it. Looks like a shark attack here. Yep, 10s. Insta dash. Dart down mid as well.
There's no one there.
Nobody here, and they're doing exactly the proper counter. I don't even think they even had the info, but they're just going straight into A main. That tends to be a hard counter when you go for these types of aggressive plays down mid, but hey, this is good. 3 players are going to flank up against Stellar.
Stellar's got to be big here. Oh, Stellar doesn't find anything. Now the counter Hunter's Fury used. Cryo swinging around. They haven't cleared out wine. You can tell how 100 Thieves want to set the line of battle further up. They refuse to give up main.
Is there a flash here from Austin? No.
He's got 11 HP. This is so tough for Derek. Yeah, Tens and Saucy able to clean it up. But it's not done yet. It's now 2v2 here. Blades in play for Tens, and they're good. Can Cryo do this by himself? No, he cannot. The defuse comes through as Sentinels get to 4.
They absolutely needed that. This game was already starting to look very, very difficult and out of control.
Well, but I think it's still concerning, right? As much as we talk about how Ascent tends to be defender-sided.
I got your backs.
That 8-4 doesn't feel great.
Yeah, and now you have a Viper to deal with on defense. Like, that already increases some of your win rate on defense. Insane shots here from Tens.
That right click from that distance, it's just kind of insane.
You could hear it. That was, yeah. That's Tens for you.
Absolutely outrageous. An 8-4 lead in favor of 100 Thieves at halftime. We're actually going to throw it down to the desks to see what they think about that first half.
To think about, honestly, because that was it was an interesting half in that, well, at the very least for 100 Thieves, I mean, we got to see Derek just have fun. He looked like he was having a grand old time out there.
That guy is nerdy.
It just felt like everyone was like clicking out there.
Yeah, it really did. And I think that this is another map where 100 Thieves is showing us the preparation in the preset executes and also in their mid rounds. And I wanted to look first at one of those executes that this team pulled out in round 5, where it was this really fast A main control with a Sova dart and a dash off that KO flash. So you actually see Cryo's looking behind him so he doesn't get blinded by that flash and taking his way all the way into sight. This isn't a particularly special play. This isn't one that 100 Thieves thought up on their own, but it's one that they actioned on really well. And that's what I was kind of surprised by. This half, for me, it didn't feel defined by that Viper and more so just by the mid rounds and the executes that this squad was pulling out for the side of 100 Thieves.
But they've still been able to show as well that kind of like mid-round adaptation as well. This round in particular, we're seeing the tail end of it. But it started off with a bit of that early pressure into mid where they broke down the alarm bot, they broke down that tree control as well.
Yeah.
And then they pivoted in the mid round, adapting into that B hit as well, like that late control of B main. So they're showing both sides of it again. We've been talking about this over and over and over again so far with this 100 Thieves team. And right now they are finding that balance and they are sailing away with it on Ascent. This is a map that in particular can be quite difficult to gather up those rounds or on that attack side, but 8 on attack side, this is looking almost unbeatable, to be honest. If you're Sentinels, I feel like this is such a difficult uphill battle for you now.
Yeah, and I feel like in this second half, this is where we're really going to get to see some of the creativity with this Viper come out. Using the utility to anchor down sites. The orb plus mollies can provide so much stall. So Sentinels are going to have to match 100 Thieves' performance. They're going to have to really lean into this mid-round. Things that give me hope, though. Tens thus far, he's been playing a really good game. They haven't managed to follow up off his individual performances, but if he can keep them in that direction here, maybe there's a chance for Sen.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I think everyone in the venues also just wanted to see Sentinels climb their way back into this game. They certainly have the tools to do so, but can they do it as we look to wrap up Map 3 in our first match of VCT Americas? Let's send it back to Balla and Doug.
The question, on everyone's mind, very poignantly placed. It's really all on Sentinels. They have the tools in place. Can they get back into this thing? You're going on to the attacking side of Ascent, which statistically and historically is tougher sledding, I mean, really across the board, Balla.
Definitely is. And I'm super interested in how this comp actually fares for 100 Thieves on defense. Not having the Killjoy on B, for example, that one's tough. They're already leaning towards this retake wall. We've seen this before in VCT, and it definitely gives you a lot of room to work with and also room to play behind. I really like the wall that Stellar throws out right off the bat here. And they are cheating forward towards A.
Meanwhile, the spike and 3 members of Sentinels are at B.
My first thought on this defense here, Sentinels has to be using mid. So often you have that KJ alarm bot cueing you when something is happening. They have to be clean with it. They're going to use a dart to clear the bottom of mid, use a knife as well. That gives so much info, but they're coming back over here.
Oh boy.
And second starts droning. Oh.
The fight they made, and now the paranoia, the flash counter, and nobody can see a dang thing! But the kills still go in favor of Sentinels. Can Bang find anything? No, Zekin's back online, man. A rough start to the first half, but an excellent start to this one.
Shock dart is going to be huge. Tens. Oh, the molly comes in seconds late.
Oh, and he tucks under. He stays alive. Now Derek with a whole lot to do in the 1v4. Tens and Saucy both weak, but it's not going to matter. Sentinels win the pistol.
And that's so curious that they win both pistols finally when they didn't win a single one in the entire series up till this map. And they're down the most that they've been.
It's keeping him in the game for sure.
There's so many team flashes here, but Saucy finally as well comes up with the major one. And Zekin comes alive too.
One enemy.
You can tell confidence brimming. Again, even with that rough start, to be able to swing out confidently, boldly, take the fight. It's a good sign for the young star.
Standing ahead.
And they have switched the wall into a more mid-control focused one on this eco.
It's interesting here how Cryo plays this. He has no Q, so he doesn't have anything to proc the dash off of. He's just kind of waiting. There it is. Yeah, there's just not a whole lot you can do there.
Yeah. And that's a situation where you might have a turret from KJ normally, where you can cue your dash off of the KJ turret, activating somebody shooting it, something like that.
Right.
Cooling down. Absolutely correct. 100 Thieves as well pushed A main, which we saw them trying to do in the pistol, and it did not go well. I think they might be able to get a smoke off on this. Yeah, Bang. Whew. But he spots himself.
Yeah.
Spots it. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, that's clean.
Fun to watch Saucy get these tags.
Flawless route coming through for Sentinels. Again, to stay in this fight, to keep this thing up, right? And you know, I mentioned it a little bit in the first half, but something we don't talk about very often. Coming out of a second round after you win the pistol and trying to preserve armor so you don't have to invest that money as well. Just so much for setting you off financially at a good start.
Yeah, I've been seeing a subversion of the expectation of defensive sidedness on split recently. So who knows? Maybe Ascent 2. Let's add that to the books too. But first half, if that was anything to go by, the gun rounds where 100 Thieves were absolutely running the game. It's so funny as well. Tens, we mentioned how he's struggling to find anything with the op on defense side, but he's still 14-8. It's like a quiet 14-8. Just 10 things.
Very pedestrian.
Got him.
Cryo getting an opener. This is now the third round of the half, and very quickly, the third different Viper wall we've seen out from Stellar. This one intended to fight more for B main.
Also gives a pocket close on B main and logs. Nobody's playing there right now, but that's always a threat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here.
Stellar spotting close. Maybe saw a ponytail or something like that. Cryo able to get another one. Second on the round for him. Trading it back though. The spike just out of reach. The 10's able to scoop it up. The problem is they still haven't cleared sight. You still have Cryo, you still have Stellar you have to deal with. Oh, well, that's one. But Stellar still alive, back sight, still being a nuisance. Time low here, and he's played this so well. Finally drops. Now Asuna shows up. It's 1v1, the two young bucks. And with time in abundance, it just feels like an eternity. 15 seconds left. Second has the spike. And he is going to be able to get it down. Now Asuna pushing forward, and the timing is gorgeous. Asuna gets a kill and gets a defuse.
That's a tough spot for Zekken to be in. There's really no safe space for him to go for that plant. He can go behind the boxes, but he could be peeking your lane. Plant down in the corner, he could be peeking your stairs.
All right.
Gone.
Not many great options, and that box is entirely spammable as well.
Player stand.
So Asuna just waiting for the plant, making the pressure come through on the time.
Big one traded back for 100 Thieves as they keep a 3-round lead. And heavy presence towards A. It seems like once again they want to try to at least see if there's threat across mid.
They're doing what I was saying. So much presence on that mid. Throwing the knife, throwing the dart. Important against a non-KJ comp.
Yeah. Well, and even the smoke too, right?
Yes, yes. Denying the info right now. If they can walk out, that'd be amazing in the situation that's currently as it is. But 10's updraft dashes with the flashes coming through.
And it's a bit slower from 100 Thieves. I thought they'd want to funnel this out very quickly and try to take this fight, but no.
This is dangerous. Zekken is his ult. He's gonna pop it early in tree. Find Asuna. Asuna's gone.
Dead man walking. Had no shot. What else can 100 Thieves do for this retake? They have established control of tree. They don't have any main control. Cryo's already fallen too, so they're sitting on the sidelines.
I'm looking for a shock volley from Stellar and Derek, but they just don't have the space. They don't have the material to be able to really do it.
Huge out from Def there to continue to push.
That was really nice from Sentinels. The denial of info.
Yep.
On mid. So one thing that a lot of times happens when you throw like a smoke like that all the way up to spawn in mid right there, where you're blocking off the jump spot, where you're blocking off the vision of somebody peeking out into pizza. A lot of times you throw that without information that somebody can see it. Somebody could see what's in front. Like, what if somebody's just playing in pizza? But there, throwing a dart, throwing a knife, everything clears it, and there they can throw the misdirection.
Well, and the interesting thing too is I think it was that utility that caused the late rotation over to the site. They had to keep 2 members over B because of the threat of a push into market or B or anything like that. So it's just little things as just like that utility caused so much doubt.
And they have broken the money, busted the money here from 100 Thieves. You talk about the rotation. It's Stellar and Derek too, who I think have key utility to try to deny the plant or also be ready to execute with. That dart coming way too late, where all his teammates are already dead. It's the same thing happening, by the way. Derek might end up being able to use a dart here and clear back mid. This flash is huge. Nope.
No real challenge, but that's because they've lost tree and they understand there's pressure coming that way. Asuna gets caught with the utility out, somehow stays alive, ultimately to be met with his demise. And now Def swinging out. The jumping right click.
One enemy remaining.
You gotta love it.
Free gun.
Free gun, by the way. Another round where Sentinels don't drop a single member. That's now 2 in a row.
That's very, very crucial.
So much eye candy and honestly so much discipline from Def. To see 2 members there and to wait, and then strike. Very well played. Timeout being called here. A close map.
Yeah. Critical. Critical timing here for 100 Thieves on this defense side so far. I mean, they've got to come up with a solution to some of that information denial that Sentinels is throwing out. It's a great call out of Def. And it's an understanding of the comp. Without this KJ, how do they really get this information? And I think the answer is kind of in Cryo's hands. To be a little bit more aggressive in mid. They're so focused on A main over and over and over. We've seen 3 times now where they've pushed into A main. I think they need to give up on that because of how much counter utility is going out anyways. I mean, on that eco run, you saw the flash come out. They got like 3 people with it, but the counter utility just forces them all back.
Right.
And you're right, the push was coming. But you want to be able to follow up on your utility if you don't have that opportunity. The other thing too is this cat split. This cat split that's coming in, usually you have mollies there potentially.
Right.
You have a lot more tools to deal with it. I think that A main push is a lot to do with how the demise is going right now. 1 round for them on this defense. And we've got a close game again.
Here.
Some key ults as well. Online, Asuna has his null command, but on the other side of the map, I'm looking not at the ult that Saucy has, but Def's ult.
Right.
His 1 orb off. All he needs to do is pick it up. And so many opportunities actually come out here. I think Sentinels right now, they're trying to understand, I think Def specifically is trying to say, okay, I saw the Viper wall mid. How do we play against this? What are we actually concerned about on this default?
Oh, it doesn't seem like they're too concerned with mid, and they probably should be. There are 3 members pushing up from 100 Thieves.
Okay, Pancada confirms that turret is so versatile. Spots people on pushing cat, spots people pushing mid, spots people pushing B.
And again, it's this nuanced exchange of utility. Because of the pressure in, they had to invest a drone to clear out that area of the map. Second thoughts.
It's very interesting right now. Def did get that orb up, remember, so he has his null command now.
30 seconds left.
And Stellar might be able to get a mall. Oh, 25 seconds left. Asuna does the great job of canceling all the hit. And utility coming in.
Time is going to be a serious problem here. There's the ult. Cryo tag stays alive for now. Stellar flashed up as he tries to tuck and cover. Still suppressed. Swings around. Lands 1 in a second. Just on the other side. Not able to deliver. There it goes. The classic does the job. It's now tense and Pancada still have to get the spike in. There's just not enough time. It's going to have to be via kills, and they're not able to pull it off. 10 for 100 Thieves.
Who just smothered first?
Just too much time spent, too much indecision there. Just literally because of that 1 wall put down in mid, that 1 presence that Pancada spots. And all of a sudden they spend, what was it, like 30 seconds walking back and forth in spawn.
I mean, we laughed at it initially, but yeah, the indecision that we saw him go back and forth.
I didn't think it was going to be a consequence because of Def's ult.
Right.
But Asuna does a great job of actually ulting deep and right at the right time. Funny part is actually he was so far back that Zekin still could put out a dart, that Saucy could still put out a smoke. But the rest of the util couldn't come through.
High
Drone is finding a lot right now. They know that they're actually playing a mid setup because of the knife getting broken. And there's actually a trap play going off as well. Smokes, flashes coming in towards mid. They completely wipe it, but they give up the B site in the process.
Placing swarm grenade.
Is that going to be enough, though?
Ooh.
They're down on numbers.
This interaction here, Pancada has his ult. Derek is 1 off. They cannot give up kills to Derek within the next 5 seconds. But what they do want to do is push up on the space that this KJ ult gives them.
That's exactly what they do. It's going to allow Pancada to at least tuck.
Yeah, but he's by himself. Nobody's coming with him. Second has a dart. Maybe if they can get the timing right.
How much can he find? A one and done provides nothing as Bang clears him out. 4v2 now in favor of 100 Thieves, and it's down to 1. Sassy can do nothing at all. What a response. And there's that Hunter's Fury that you were just talking about, now online.
Stellar with his ult too. What is that shot from Asuna through the wall? I mean, that is just ridiculous.
Let's see if we can get to take a look at it one more time.
Just spams the guy who's literally hiding from spam. And yeah, this dart, slightly mistimed. He marks it up and spams Zekin, who's trying to hide from, I guess, the drone.
Yeah.
So beautiful. And I have to say, a different 100 Thieves, my feeling is, a different 100 Thieves has showed up on Ascent than the rest of the series entirely. It feels like the team play is so much better. Starting from like the tail end of Split, something's happened on that stage where they are really gelling together. Like the 100 Thieves we saw at Champions.
Yeah, very quickly here, it may prove to be inconsequential, but we saw Stellar not able to hit the one-way on the orb initially, then puts the pit down, and that's exactly where they're going. They're going in towards Tree. The Hunter's Fury could be massive. Ten's the first to fall. Asuna pushing forward off of the space garnered.
That missed one-way actually comes on and works still just as good. Trying to catch the timing on Derek's drone here, Def.
I mean, he's tucked. He's tucked and they have no idea. And the thing is, I don't think Sentinels, as far as I can remember, they haven't pushed into the smoke that they've been repeatedly dropping in mid.
There.
Is it expected? Yes, it is.
Cover going out.
That's another instance of Bang's off angles just being so good.
He's unreal, man.
It's his map, 17 and
30
13.
seconds left.
Yeah, he really just seemed to consistently hit a different level on Ascent. Back to the LCQ days, man.
Yep.
Paranoia out as they try to funnel around it. Spams through, and somehow they managed to get by. They managed to get through unscathed.
Okay,
10
but
seconds left.
we've seen how difficult this hold has been for Sentinels in the last round. Pancada, for example, getting up way too close. Trying to find some way into this round, and Krau's just holding.
I mean, it's a 5v3.
He's just holding.
Waiting to see if Stellar's the one who takes first contact. Zekin ready for it, waiting for it. No armor, doesn't matter. Kill delivered. Oh my gosh! A 5v3 has turned into a 3v2.
And there's no time either.
This was a Herculean save from Sentinels. Unreal.
Remember, that started by 2 players falling, Tens immediately in tree. And then as well, losing Def on the lurk against Bang. Zekin finds the flank, Pancada finds the space and spawn. Everybody contributed to this. Yes, individual efforts on all parts, but that's what it takes to win a 3v5 like that. And they keep themselves in it. They keep themselves away from fending off match point.
And they deal a blow to 100 Thieves' economy. Bang has nothing but a bulldog. So keep a close eye on that. You see it. They don't have much in this round or in the next, really.
Spike retrieved.
Flash over the top. The dash comes through from Tens, and he just gets spammed right through. There's the bulldog. It seems to work just fine.
Flash from door.
This is where he anchors well. He made a meal here. He made a living trying to anchor this exact site. Only able to get one.
Spike down A.
Here.
Numbers still for the defensive side. The spike still not planted.
And with this plan, it's going to be so difficult. Shocks can come in against him.
It is the Brazilian duo, though. It is Sassy and Pancada. And we saw it already. When it's just them two, they just hit a different gear. Can the chemistry prove to be the difference maker yet again?
His patience from 100 Thieves cost them last time, but no, Pancada falls to cryo.
The chemistry's just gonna have to be by itself. The dash into the smoke, the spam is there, and he's not able to land it. Derek lands the shots. The defuse is gonna come through from Stellar. And honestly, we shouldn't be surprised for as good as map 1 and map 2 were, for this to have been the moment that could have been separation to be as close as it was is, it's just rinse and repeat.
Shadows traveling.
The depth in the map pool is where you start to see new teams be separated from old teams.
Yeah.
And while Cryo hasn't been a major focal point for me on this map, especially the defense, he's filling in the holes. And his patience, his style of slow, hold the angles is definitely working, especially late in these rounds.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make, is, you know, not all jets are created equal, right? Like, you can have a very flashy, very go-in-your-face one, or you can have more of an anchor who just holds space, locks space down, doesn't give anything up. And Cryo does seem to be more of the latter.
You got a difference right in the server of TenZ and Cryo. Sometimes the things that are required of you, though, force your hand. So, for example, for TenZ right now, he is really trying to force space on these executes. And a huge discussion right now. How do you stay in this for 3 rounds? How do you bring it back? Hands crinkling his forehead there to understand and come up with an idea, come up with a solution. And that one was fast A. And ever since that mid push has started to fail them, definitely feels like 100 Thieves has gotten a beat on the game. They didn't need much on that 8-4 half to improve on.
Either way, they've gotten to this point. 100 Thieves on series point here as Sentinels, confused, try to muse their way back into this. How are they going to continue to get Ascent going? How are they going to get to overtime? And that, I mean, that would have been a disastrous start.
Cryo going on the aggressive potential. If he finds himself an early kill here, he won't. Not going to cheat against the turret, not going to try to bait somebody into peeking him. Not taking risks.
What is Saucy up to over there? Opposite side of the map. Waiting to see, I guess, if there's going to be a flank. Meanwhile, the rest of his team prepares to exec on to B. And you've still got Derek here with the Odin.
Here he goes. He's going to smoke for his teammate and then try to walk in the edge.
There's the wall, but the pocket that you were just alluding to, it's a bit too shallow, but they don't check it anyway. He's able to get one, not able to get the second. Did that hit him?
Yes.
And there's no dodging that. But he somehow stays alive and continues to push forward. The flash is gorgeous.
Spike down B.
And Sase did not commit to the flank. 3v2 now.
Sentinels still have a shot at this thing. With the numbers advantage, left. Can they hold? Cryo with the op. Bang is already fallen. Cryo's gonna have to do it all on his own, and now paranoia in his face. With 100 credits, manages to stay alive. For now. You imagine he just wants to save the op carried into the next round.
Yeah, looking at his money, no chance he has enough to get another.
Right.
Ooh. But damage done is huge.
Yeah, because the money's not great for Sentinels either.
These two guys should be able to drop weapons in the next. They're chasing, they're hunting. TenZ has gotten deep, but no way you find him on Cat. Second might go down.
10 for Sentinels. And they live to fight another round. Again, the money here is so key. I mean, Derek is 2,500. Maybe somebody can drop for him, but we'll take a look at that one more time. Dude, that was so big, and Zekin was flashed.
Yep.
Fully flashed when he gets the second. I mean, Stellar could have made a meal of that round.
Bang went very fast. There.
Here.
And kind of, you have to. Cryo's got the op, so.
They're playing this real safe on the defensive side. Look at the buy. They still have the op for Cryo, but 2 stingers and then pistols.
Yeah. We've seen this could be a recipe for a Thrifty, right? A recipe for an eco. Cryo still got the op. Like, if he just gets with a flash. Oh.
Second's just on the other side.
Danger.
He got tagged. He got spammed. Woo.
And he's still stuck there. He used all of his mobility right now. If they can get Amali in there, something like that.
They're just so far back.
Orb has gotten him out to safety.
Asuna has the ult. He feels the pressure. He can pop it. The paranoid through. He's still patient. Playing in the smoke. The paranoid is there.
They know this is a true hit because of the B push that just came out.
I think he dealt some damage with that spam as well.
Hank's still on the site.
Patience here from Austin as he still gets a kill. The op shot going a bit wide. Steph able to land the shot onto Cryo. It just seems like they're really set on not investing a ton into this round. And Kyle have way too many targets around, and they've still gotten it to a decently interesting spot here. Derek with a weapon, and Derek is clutch.
Last player standing.
But he's not clutch enough.
And Austin at 2 HP. Not one of the lucky ones to pick up a Vandal either. That's not great from Def.
Nope.
Time's
Oh
fine.
no. No real way out.
Woo! That was
really close.
very close. And the damage done, we were just talking about in the prior round, like any kill that came through, that's definitely hurting the economy. I'm definitely seeing mostly Vandals on the side of Sentinels as this timeout comes. An entire series, we've gone the distance. All 3 maps have gone to all rounds of regulation. And right now, Sentinels has another opportunity to pull this to a second overtime in this series. One more chance.
Wonder what's going on in the comms of 100 Thieves as they call this timeout. So close, 1 round away. But the thing is, they've been a round away for a couple of rounds now.
Yep.
And Sentinels have just been... I love that he wears the aviators indoors. Don Wick up there, committed to it. Thank you for those of you who laughed at that joke. 1 round potentially to get us to overtime. 1 round potentially to close out the series. Operator in the hands of Cryo again.
3 ults for Sentinels though, and they're big ones. Austin has been great at reactively using that no command. Twice he's been able to use it as a shutdown on this defensive side. I'm looking at Zekin's ult can get canceled by that, but the KJ ult cannot. And Def as well. They're all split right now. This is gonna be a slow hit. If I'm Cry, I'm thinking, how can I specifically try to target the KJ? Try to target Pankata? There's not very many opportunities given the fact that Sentinels are playing mostly slow. Especially on these B hits, they're never going fast to it.
The spike scooped up. Rotating back B.
Deploying drone.
Derek just uses drone. They also re-clearing on A main too. 5 seconds on the dart. Looks like what could work here. Def looking like he wants to hit towards Cat. He's gonna get knifed. That's gonna delay things. With Zekin darting in for him, potentially ulting himself. And then they could pivot that towards B.
This could be huge. It's all about whether or not it lands. If he gets the tag, the Hunter's Fury used, and yeah, Bang has been lit up. Bang is so close to dying, but he instead gets another. It's Asuna who falls. Bang close by should be able to res him up though, but the rest of the hit's gonna be towards B, and Derek is there to greet it. Up close and personal, spamming through with the Oda, not able to find a second.
Sight not giving up. KJ ult being used deep. Bang actually ulted into the KJ ult right now.
To be with Stellar, but is that?
Can they break it?
That could be it. That could be the demise. It does get destroyed.
They broke it.
3v2 here. 10 seconds left. Can Stellar hold it back?
Last player
No!
standing.
Unreal! Dude, there's no
Switching
way!
sides. Overtime.
That is just pure chaos. A good call from Sentinels. They go for the fake on Cat. The ult can be still used towards B. So a lot of suppresses going off. In fact, you can see Derek was hit by it. And then the lockdown going in a very weird spot.
Down B.
Gives up his life to break it.
10 seconds left.
Dude, how is he so like calm and cool and collected? Outrageous. Overtime on the cards again. 10s with the operator. Glass cannon in play.
God, it feels like so long since we've seen the attacking side from 100 Thieves.
Okay, this is really cool. I wanted to point this out in the last round because he's done this a couple of times now. Teleports back in towards A main to suggest that he's actually taking Cubby in long to just introduce, again, just this like rough idea that somebody is taking space up. And that just makes challenging A main so much more difficult.
Yeah, combine that with a knife that's clearing wine, clearing close. Little intricacy. Remember, that orb was what was denying 10 so much. He did go for this glass cannon up. The wall's gonna allow them to walk up behind it. They have to drop it to take the next step, though.
Second is dart, and he's close by.
Here comes the dash activated. Oh!
Doesn't find anything. Tries to tuck, tries to get away while Cryo tries to go in instead. The spam lands on his Zekin. 10 still alive. The second shot misses. How many more shots will he get? 3v3 here. 30 HP for 10s. Op still in hand.
Another spam kill, too.
Can he make it land? Banks' position here is huge. Yeah, he's got to find value, and he does.
30 seconds left.
But they're going to back out. Well, the thing is, they don't know Pancada's right behind him, and he hears it. He hears a rotating wave. He lands the shots. And it's potential disaster.
Look at him go. Pancada's all the way back over towards Cat. He has his turret back up, which will allow them potential. Oh, he has to run through the molly. He might die. Oh my goodness.
9 HP.
9 HP.
Skin of his teeth. Momentary repositioning to try to get the spike down, and the time was just not on his side.
Bomb grenade out.
Advantage, Sentinels.
Switching sides. Match point.
This script is ridiculous.
What a banger. And it's only the first series of the day.
Regulation win for Sentinels on Fracture 13-11. Then 100 Thieves brings us to overtime on Split. They win that map. Then Sentinels brings us to OT on Ascent.
Honestly, I feel a little scammed that we didn't go to OT on Fracture. It's a little scammed.
You guys could have just written it in.
Overtime timeout called. 400 Thieves.
And I know the Riot employees are listening here on first day.
Yeah.
They got the script. There's more Riot employees in the audience right now than fans.
Unreal scenes. I mean, what's the call out of this timeout?
I think for Sentinels, as they move onto the attacking side, we just saw kind of one of the most dynamic calls you can make. And once you start using that, once that starts entering your arsenal, you tend to lean towards it a lot, right? The pivots, the feints.
Sure.
You don't have the ults in this case, though, to close this out. But you could say the same thing for 100 Thieves. So it's a lot harder to call those dynamic calls, right? You don't have as many tools to lean into the fake. But that definitely is something that happens for IGLs once they realize, okay, here's how the rotation is working. A lot of times that creeps in to your mind.
Quick peek,
If I'm Sentinels, I want to continue with this default and actually force back that mid stuff. But Cryo's going for a glass cannon up, and he's staying in mid.
One suppressed.
Knife only tagged Derek, I believe. So Stellar's going to be able to toggle the wall up and down.
One thing, remember, Cryo usually has his Viper Orb to fall off in mid for, so he has to play a lot more passive. The Viper Orb's actually being used on the back side of B. Not sure if that's a one-way or if it's just holding so that they can't push into a boathouse.
It's going to be a quiet approach from Sentinels towards A. What's the cue? Also, no Pancada here on this late lurk. You see the flash, you see the dash, but there's no clash. There's no follow-up out from 100 Thieves. Baines is the first to fall, but he was there by himself. Dev's able to get a second. 10's with another. Derek able to trade it back here. Huge out from Sentinels, and now Pancada's able to cut off the rotations. This seems like a done deal. It's too easy.
The timing.
It's just too easy when it looks like that. Pancada cleans it up. 14-12 in the series in favor of Sentinels.
And it's Sentinels who comes out on top in the Battle of NA. right at the beginning of the season. Gotta feel good for Zekin. Playing against his former teammate of Cryo. I gotta feel good for Sentinels and Sentinels fans everywhere, given the fact how much I think there was some criticism of them in the offseason.
Yeah, there was.
And the fact that they went out and won at lock-in.
Oh, and not just that. I mean, you think about that in the offseason, you think about the conversations of, oh, they signed Marv, what's going to happen? Are there weak points? But, Ball, I'll keep it a buck with you. You and I were talking. You said you thought Sentinels was going to win out the series, and I didn't believe you. I didn't believe you. I didn't think they could pull it off. But, man, the dynamic duo pairs that they have, the synergy with which they play together is just unreal.
I think as well, 100 Thieves has been kind of the NA hope in the offseason. I think Lock-in changed that a lot for people, but because of their success and winning a tournament in the offseason, everybody was like very hype on this team. At Lock-in, things changed a little bit, but the fact that they're going back to Comfort and still able to experiment a little bit is a promising sign for the future. And the fact that while playing well, Sentinels is still able to actually contend with what was one of the most feared rosters at the beginning of this in the Americas League is a great sign for the future.
And once again, a happy birthday to Psycho, and what a gift, huh? What a gift. Ellie, it's only been one series, but for now, Sen City rules this land.
I have to say, the first attempt at a merger between Brazil and North America as we merge the leagues and the continents. Promising signs for this roster.
Very
World
much
champions
so.
on it. LAN winners as well in 10s. And then the upstarts. So many different things go into this roster, and it is looking very nice.
And honestly, I hadn't even really realized a ton of love from the crowd too. I'm seeing a ton of Sentinels jerseys in the crowd. Yeah.
I mean, you know it's gonna be there. They come out in spades. We get our first Americas game. You know they're gonna be here out in the West Coast. And for a different roster too. It's not the one that everybody was used to. It's a different team for the first time here in 2023.
I do think you hit a couple of good points, so I want to come back to is there's a lot of promise for 100 Thieves. The fact that they came in with unique, different plans that they wanted to try to hit Sentinels with, kind of catch them off guard. Some of them worked, some of them didn't, but this is really the time. Early season, yeah, try different things. Try something funky and see how it pans out. And either way, it didn't work out for them. Sentinels take down 100 Thieves in a 2-1 series win. We're going to throw it down to Smix, who's standing by with Def, the man himself. Smix, take it away.
Thank you very much, Doug and Bala, standing with the man, the IGL himself of Sentinels. Congratulations, Def, on an amazing victory.
Thank you so much.
Wow, there is so much to break down there, but first and foremost, what an amazing birthday gift to provide to Psycho. You know, what is going through your head right now after such a close back and forth series and being able to give that to him?
Oh, about Don's birthday, he didn't actually tell us it was his birthday until like today. So, and on the last map, he was like, do it for me, guys. So we had to pull through. Yeah, but they played great, really close games. Hopefully the fans enjoyed it.
For that, there is absolutely zero doubt because this audience here was going absolutely wild. Let's start with talking about Fracture because, you know, you lost Pistol and then the half ended in your favor 7-5. And then we saw 100 Thieves win 5 rounds in a row. A timeout was called for Sentinels. And then we saw you win round after round back until you took the game at the very end. What did you talk about in that timeout?
A lot of that was on one of the coaches. They mentioned how they were doing B main stuff early, and we had to adjust to that faster. So that was definitely from the TAC timeout, and it was our coach's input. So big shout out to them guys. But yeah, they just started really strong, and we couldn't win a pistol today. I think we won what, one of 6 maybe or something like that.
You won an Ascent.
Oh, okay, nice.
But speaking of Ascent, that was another game that just went absolutely wild, down to the wire, all the way to overtime. And the casters called it themselves. They were saying how you look so calm, cool, and collected. Y'all were down 9-12. It looked like 100 Thieves were just one round away from taking it. But were you confident the entire time you guys would be able to take it at the end?
They had a tricky comp. Like in North America, we haven't really scrimmed against like the Viper comps yet. So yeah, it really caught us off guard, especially on their T side. But yeah, we stayed calm. We stuck to the game plan that we came in with, and it worked out.
It's beautiful to see. Last question before I let you go. You talked about the coaches earlier. There's a lot of brains going on for your team, not only yourself, but with the coaches. You have people that you've worked with before, like Psycho, as well as Drew Spark, but you also have Kaplan, who's also known for being a massive brain there. So what is the preparation process like whenever it comes for these matches?
I feel like I don't really have to do a lot of that anymore, just because them guys are so hands-on. They've got it. They all huddle up in a room together and just discuss strategy, and they're just insane at their jobs. I think every single one, Drew, Don, and Kaplan, they're all insane at their job. So they make our life easy, and hopefully we can bring it in the future games.
Sounds good. Congratulations once again, Def, as Sentinels take this victory 2-1 over 100 Thieves. Golden Boy, back to you.
Thank you so much, Smix. Oh, Captain, my Captain, Def, you have succeeded. Well done, but an incredible game that was, really, top to bottom. It went down to OT. Sentinels walk away with the victory, and they will pick up the first win in VCT Americas League history, which is pretty cool. Sentinels is an organization in Valorant that has made a lot of, history. So it's kind of cool to see that happen here for them as well, Mimi.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. A bit of history made for these guys, and it was a super impressive game that they managed to come back in there. I think 5 rounds in a row, and so much of this came down to questions about these competitions.
Yeah.
100 Thieves came out and they tried something different. You heard in the interview there, this isn't a comp that is really getting scrimmed often in North America, and I think a lot of the issues 100 Thieves was having in that second half did come with that Viper. There were some great ideas in that first half, but once we got down to the second, it didn't feel like it was providing enough value in denying info and in these retakes, and it ended up with Sentinels pulling out some really consistent rounds to bring us to OT here.
Consistent. I mean, listen, it was scrappy, but when we talk all the time about Sentinels having that player quality from top to bottom, and I think it was showcased here today with them being able to come back from this. 8-4 was the halftime score for Ascent, and they were moving into their attack side. It's almost unheard of for teams to come back in that kind of fashion. It's really difficult, and they really did look cool, calm, and collected. They had amazing moments. I think Pancada switching over. Listen, he wasn't the biggest star in the world, but this guy was a consistent performer when he's been playing that Sentinel role for them. And if this is the early days for Sentinels, man, the future looks bright, honestly, because they were going up against 100 Thieves. No slouches. 100 Thieves also looking improved, making those switch-ups, putting Cryo in a dominant role here with him playing the Jet. But Sentinels haven't had as much practice put together with this roster compared to a team like 100 Thieves. We have, like, I would say in my mind, where I place those expectations, Sentinels will be a little bit lower, yet still they exceeded them. And they didn't even win all the pistol rounds.
Yeah, I mean, they were struggling with those. Pretty much the map that they won, they had to come back in the crazy fashion. Map number 2 as well. They were down, but they still managed to push it to that incredibly close scoreline, getting it to overtime at the end of the day. And I think we're seeing the strength that Sentinels, that we saw from them before, at Lock-In, at the Ludwig Tarek Invitational, where they have insane individuals. They can pop off, they can make these comebacks happen, but now we're also seeing the structure. We're seeing the roles start to put themselves in place, and it does feel like the right direction for Sentinels. This win over 100 Thieves in a game they weren't favored is definitely a fantastic first step.
Yeah, and also, too, I think it is important to note, we were talking about comfort. We were talking about seeing players play agents that we know that they can pop off and control the game on. And I think one of those players that definitely had that, we were noting it, was TenZ, without a doubt. But Brent, I think it's important to note here, like, credit to 100 Thieves, because in Game 3, they found ways to shut him down time after time, but still TenZ was able to put together a pretty good performance.
Yeah, he's been putting up such high numbers as well, being that real difference maker for them, and now that he is playing that comfort role, it just looks so good. But you are right, that first half, they were finding ways to shut him down. He was taking a lot of aggressive fights on the defense, trying to open aggressive positions and getting shut down, but he was really that centerpiece to push it forwards into that second half. half and being that difference maker. I mean, you can just see it in the numbers. It's manifested.
Yeah, and we talked about it with 100 Thieves, where when you have a super proactive jet player, it gives you a lot of options as an IGL to mid-round. And 100 Thieves leaned into that, but Sentinels really, really leaned into this. In every single one of these maps, TenZ, even if he didn't have the full support to do so, was taking some risks, was making these plays. And when it worked out, it gave so many options for Def to win in the mid-rounds. I think some of that looseness is what caused that game to look pretty scrappy, but I think that's something that, well, you can kind of look at it as a weakness. You can also look at it as a strength, because I felt like 100 Thieves had a solid game plan across most of those maps, and Sentinels still managed to come out and win this one.
Yeah, a part of me wants to think that I don't want to take this win away from Sentinels because they certainly deserved it. I mean, coming back the way that they did, some of the hero plays that they made. But I mean, Brent, 100 Thieves have to be kicking themselves after losing this one.
I mean, with how close this was, they had many opportunities to try and close it out as well.
Yeah.
In particular, that last map. I mean, it was set up for them, almost a slam dunk, but still early days. There's 9 weeks here. You've got to remember this, right? We're in the first week of Americas, so there is going to be opportunities for them to bounce back, but I think they are going to be kicking themselves. This is a rivalry that you want to be taking it, you know. You want to have that win over Sentinels' heads because you don't know when the next time you're going to be playing them. It might not be this year, you know, for a good amount of time.
Yeah, who knows? I think things that were a step in the right direction were the roles, getting Cryo a little bit more comfortable, showing some more consistency and finding that balance between the early game plans and the mid rounds. But they still have this issue of when games get tight, when things get late, they kind of lean into the scrappiness of their opponents. It was an issue we saw at Lock-In, and it was an issue again here on map 3, which loses to them losing out on this series.
Well, of course, the day belongs to Sentinels, but for now, the 100 Thieves will be left licking their wounds. But we'll see them again. Don't worry about that. But we asked you guys to vote for your player of the match on the internet, and the results are in, and shocker. Oh my God, I can't believe the results.
That's crazy.
A poll with TenZ on it, and he wins.
Live updates as well. I will say special shout out to Sassy as well, because
I agree.
Listen, we talked about the roles all the time. We didn't really put too much of a focus on players like Sassy and Picada throughout it when we were talking about this match, but Sassy was a massive difference maker in many rounds as well, so credit to him. But of course, you know, TenZ is going to be taking that one at the end of the day. Listen, you leverage the clout, you know, he's probably, you know, got some social media manager retweeting it for him while he's playing. I don't know.
Who knows?
He's going to be winning that.
Something like that. But he also just performed so well individually. It feels so good to have TenZ back on LAN. It's been like too long since we've gotten to watch this guy consistently compete in person.
Yeah, it was an excellent way to start things off here for VCT Americas. And look, that match may be done, but the show is far from over, because coming up next, we have Furia taking on Crew, and we'll break down this matchup in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few. A new era of Valorant esports starts today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the kickoff of VCT Americas. This is it. Week 1, day 1. The journey begins for both of these teams. Sentinels versus 100 Thieves. Two clouded organizations. Lots of fans anticipating this one. And the pressure definitely on all of these players on the stage.
The ult is going to land. Saucy's able to get one as well as he swings around and drops Asuna. Sentinel showing that they're willing to take the fight, but Cryo punches him back. Saucy now stunned up, 72 HP, time ticking, and they don't know he's there. They never cleared him. Saucy gets 3 in Sentinels with map 1.
The Brazilian duo on Sentinels showing us why this roster's put together.
I thought he was going to be patient, but it's actually Zekin who's just beneath too. Again, you see that duo setup so effective, but Cryo able to trade it back out.
One enemy remaining.
How have they gotten into this?
Standing.
It's a 1v1. Saucy's weak, and he lands that shot.
Not kill my ally.
5 HP per second, and Saucy gets 3. Asuna not able to do it the fourth for him.
Good job.
I don't know that they'll be able to. Zekin gets 1, but that's all it's going to be. 14-12 in favor of 100 Thieves. We're going the distance, Balla. It may not matter. It may be too soon before he gets here. You see Bang swinging around, getting a third with it. Nice. 4 on the round for Bang. Time low here, and he's played this so well. It's 1v1, the 2 young bucks. Asuna pushing forward, and the timing is gorgeous. That could be it. That could be the demise. It does get destroyed. He broke it. 3v2 here. 10 seconds left. Can Stellar hold it back? No! 14-12 in the series in favor of Sentinels.